Before we begin, do you confirm your consent for me to record this interview for note-taking purposes?
I do.
Okay. Can you just briefly introduce yourself and describe your current HR role in the hospitality industry?
Yes. My name is Stephanie Jensen, and I am currently a people and culture, also known as human resources, business partner for two properties within Columbia Hospitality as a whole. So, two properties of about 100 properties that we have. And building up to this role, I have about 25 years overall in human resources.
Thank you so much for sharing. How long have you been in this specific role, and approximately how many employees do you oversee or support right now?
Yeah, so I've been in this specific role for about 10 months now. And in this capacity, I oversee about 250 team members, and I have two direct reports that help me support that team member base.
Awesome. Now I'm just going to dive a little bit more into your career achievements and just what would you consider one of your greatest career achievements, specifically in your HR role within hospitality?
Within my role in hospitality, I would honestly say career achievements is branching into hospitality and kind of overcoming that. Stepping into this role, I didn't have a hospitality background. I had a strong HR background, and in hospitality, a lot of times they wanted people that had been in the industry. And I was hired and have quickly shown by learning and by engaging with the team members that I've overcome that and dove right into the hospitality background in quick fashion, which I'm super proud of.
Yes, that's awesome. And with that accomplishment, what leadership strategies, HR practices, or process helped you accomplish this? And why do you consider this achievement impactful?
Yeah, I would say being humble, not being afraid to admit that I may not know something, and in that process, just working side by the people that did. So that means diving in and standing next to one of our servers and letting them teach me and letting them show me what they did, and that really made them feel important. Watching one of our housekeepers clean a room and just really seeking to understand and not letting anybody feel like they're of lesser value than anybody else on the property.
That's awesome. With that, which servant leadership trait did you rely on most during this achievement? I'll list some for you, but listening, empathy, awareness, stewardship, building community, and if you could share one example, that would be great too.
Yeah, gosh, those are some good servant leadership traits, but I would probably say awareness. So really being aware of what's going on around me, being aware of what kinds of things are influencing people. So really seeking to understand the bigger picture. So, I think of a team member that's coming to me and is having a lot of anxiousness about not getting enough hours, and really being aware that why are they feeling frustrated, and they had a lot of outside things going on, a lot of bills that were kind of out of their control. And so just really trying to be aware of their feelings and their issues, and in how I helped them work through it.
That's a great example. The next questions I have go more into challenges and stuff like that, which you've shared a little bit about. But just one more major challenge that you've faced in HR, maybe involving an ethical dilemma, employee conflict, or difficult situation. Could you just describe one for me?
Sure. um yeah, I think of kind of an ethical dilemma. We do a lot of hiring and work with a lot of managers and their styles. And sometimes I think managers have an issue or a difficult time thinking what value somebody could bring to the team and what value add somebody could bring to the team. So they tend to like to hire people that are like them or that they have something in common with. And so that presented a challenge with a particular manager because his whole team consisted of individuals that were like him. And I had to encourage him to think outside of the box and think of what somebody with a different lifestyle or different lived experience could bring to the team, and could add value. And it was great because he eventually ended up seeing that and has one of his strongest team members that isn't just like him, which is good.
That's a really good example because bias is definitely a really big thing in a managerial position. Um,
It is.
yeah, which again back to servant leader, which trait helped you the most when navigating that specific challenge and how did you like really apply it when you were dealing with him?
Can you remind me of the servant leadership traits?
Yes, of course I can. Some that I had listed earlier were listening, empathy, awareness, stewardship, building community.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a little bit of a lot of those because, first of all, I go back to the awareness of like me being aware of what was going on and then having to encourage him to be aware too and bring that awareness. And then also building community because that had to, as they hired somebody, wanted to make sure that that person felt well in the team. And so then had to work with that manager to find ways to make sure that that person felt included then once they were coming on board. So had to bring out both of those in myself, but then also encourage that to come out of the manager too.
Yeah, awesome. So more about your organization. What is the mission or purpose of the organization and how does HR specifically contribute to that?
Yeah. So we have three main customers that we're serving. We're serving our team members, we're serving our guests, and we're also serving our owners. So each of our properties has its own owner. And our mission is really to create really positive experiences for all those individuals. And HR is key to that. So we have to not only deal with the challenges, but also be very strategic as how can we bring out, ultimately it starts with our team members. How can we bring out the best in our team members so they show up every day at their best to serve the guests, which then is ultimately going to serve our shareholder. And we play a key role in that in people and culture.
Yeah, that's great. Um, which entrepreneurial mindset traits, such as problem solving, resilience, opportunity recognition, or innovation, do you think you use most often in your leadership role in HR?
Hmm. That's a funny one. I would have to say resilience because we're not always liked in people and culture because we have to make tough decisions. We have to make decisions on, a lot of times we have to be the ones that give hard messages and people aren't going to like us. And sometimes that's hard. And we have to be resilient and realize that it's not us that they don't like. And I'll personalize it. It's not me that they don't like. It's the decision. It's the message I have to deliver. But my goal is to realize that I'm not going to be liked by everybody. But what's important to me is that I'm respected, that they respect the decision made. They respect that it's coming, that I'm treating them fairly and I'm treating them as a person, is what's important to me.
That's a great answer. Well, we're wrapping up with about a minute left, but just a little bit more on leadership. What are two leadership lessons or attributes that you believe are the most essential for success in HR and hospitality specifically?
Hmm. I think one is listening and listening and listening. So a lot of times people just want to be heard. I don't need to have the answers. They just want to be heard and feel important. And then that's the other one is making sure everybody feels important and valued and that they're a human being and we all get out of bed the same way.
That's great. Well, just to cram one more, is there anything that you wish you would have avoided earlier in your career that delayed or challenged your leadership growth?
I
And no is fine too.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any regrets. I feel that each of the steps in my career have been opportunities have been given to me for a reason. And I've seen that all unfold. I may not see it at the time that it's happening, but I see it, I can look back on and see why things fell the way they did. So I would say I don't have any regrets.
That's great. All learning opportunities for sure.
Yeah.
Um, well, this is just one last fun one I have, but how would you describe your personal leadership style?
I would say respect. I would say leading by example. And always, I share with everybody that I work with that I um, I would never ask somebody. They can always expect of me what I expect of them.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's a great way to summarize everything that we had talked about through the other questions. So thank you for that answer too. Well, that
You're
wraps up our
welcome.
time, but I just want to say thank you again for taking the time to answer these questions for me. And yeah, thank you for talking.
Yeah, that went quick. Thank
I know.
you.
Of course.